Hey guys, took up a new hobby, trying to learn how to do MIG welding. Sorry that this is overdubbed, but there's a lot of background noise. As you can see, I've got a exhaust fan running, so there was no use me trying to talk while I'm trying to do this. Plus I was trying to concentrate. This is the very first time I've ever laid down a bead, and I totally sucked at it, but hey, I'm trying. What you see here is initially I kind of squinted my eyes and did a little bit of an arc test just to make sure that the auto darkening helmet that I bought was working. And it actually did. I was really surprised at how well it worked. In fact, I had it set a little bit too dark and had to lighten it up. I had it set at a 12 and I lightened it down to an 11. And what you see me doing here is, it seemed like I had the wire feed roller a little bit too loose. So I went back and tried to tighten it up a little bit. It seemed like the wire was jamming and not wanting to feed quite correctly. I had it set on the lower end of what was recommended. Anyway, got back in here and actually managed to lay a couple of pretty decent beads for somebody doing it for the first time, and I kept getting my angle totally wrong, and you'll notice that when you're watching my hands and watching the angle of the torch. Right here, I'm trying to get it at a 90-degree up and down angle with just a little bit of a tilt, a 10-degree or so tilt, so that I could see the electrode, but I kept forgetting and not doing it, and I started playing around with the wire speed and the voltage settings, and I totally messed up. Got to the point where I actually overheated the little sheet of metal that I was working on, testing on, and it started to warp. And you'll see that here in a minute or two. And here you see me trying to get my angle right again, because I know I kept leaning it too far down. So I'm trying to keep my elbow up and keep the torch straight up and down. But again, I kept forgetting, and it's a pretty decent learning curve. So I'm trying to do what I can. Anyway, I've cut out a lot of it back and forth where I was reaching over and tweaking the welder. I started out at the recommended settings. I think it was at 16 volts and a wire feed speed of 135. At least on this particular welder, that's what the recommendations were for 16 gauge metal, which is what I'm trying to weld on here. And right here you can see me doing a very long, slow bead. And when I stop, you're going to notice that that my metal plate is coming up off of the table. Yeah, I screwed up pretty good. And here I go again, heating it up even more. Anyway, it's a matter of trial and error and learning, and I had a little bit of fun. I was outside about an hour doing this. And right here you can see the glow underneath the metal. I actually penetrated very, very badly. It's a good thing my foot wasn't directly under one of the slots, and the weld wasn't right over one of the slots. I probably would have got molten metal on my boot. Here I go again, trying to get that angle correct, and I've definitely got the welder set wrong. I do go back and crank it back down to where it was recommended, and I got some better beads, and they did not cut all the way through. Anyway, this is me having a little bit of fun, trying to learn something. I know you guys that know what you're doing are going to see a lot of fault here, but please do keep in mind, my very first time picking up a MIG torch, very first time welding anything at all. Played with a soldering iron. Anything more than that I've never done. penetrating a little too far there. This was my first bead. You can see how shitty it is. Decent penetration, not too bad. I cranked up the amperage and, or rather the volts and the feed speed, and I went all the way through, which obviously that's not good. But I mean, you know, I'm working on it. I'm getting better. Very first sparks I ever laid down. So, you know, all things considered, whew, that's getting hot. I don't know if you can see it, but I warped the shit out of this thing. Hey, guys, what can I say? You know, very first time. All right, guys. So this is Rob, if you haven't guessed, and well, I guess I can take these off. I have a yet another hobby that I'm trying to get into. Something I want to learn. I mean, something that a lot of folks don't do these days is learn how to do simple tasks themselves. Not that welding is simple. I know it takes a hell of a lot of skill. But like with my woodworking and some of the things I do around my house that I do on my own, I want to learn. I don't expect to become a professional welder. I don't expect to be able to build furniture that I can sell online. But what I do expect is that if I need to do something simple, some simple carpentry, make a little box, make something to put my tools on the wall, weld a couple of pieces of metal together to fix something, I want to know how to do it. So anyway, that being said, so I got an exhaust fan and this thing, and I had my garage door open. I've got a welding blanket to keep the sparks off my bikes and out of the gasoline that's on the other side of the garage. I bought a Harbor Freight Titanium Unlimited 200. I got it on sale for $6.50. Initially I was thinking I would just do flux core welding, but I saw how much you know, the fumes that put off looking at YouTube videos, and I decided, well, maybe I want to step it up one notch and at least do MIG. So that's what I was doing here. I bought an 80 cubic foot tank of argon CO2 mix. I got everything hooked up. I've actually had this for a couple of months now, and this is the very first time I've been able to get out and try to use it. I'm saying it's way too much. Anyway, I bought a couple of pieces of sheet metal, a couple of flat bar, and some 1-inch square stock, because I do have something in mind that I want to try to build, and I'm going to see if I can actually do it. This little 1-foot square piece of 16 gauge steel that you saw me welding on there, that's just for practice. I mean, I figure I'm going to wind up throwing it away. It's going to be garbage, I know. I might cut it into pieces and try to make some angles, you know, make sure that I can weld two pieces together instead of just making a half-ass bead across it. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to learn. So, you know, for any of you that know what you're doing and you're seeing me doing something really stupid, hey, I've been watching YouTube videos and I've been reading. That's the very first time I've ever touched a welding torch in my life. So keep it easy. Keep it easy. Don't slam me too much for doing stupid shit. Anyway, this is Rob. I'm gonna stop it here because I'm sweating like a pig, and I want to get this jacket and the gloves and everything off and go in the house and cool down. I need to clean up a little bit over here. And anyway, yeah, new hobby, new learning experience. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope to see you soon. I'll be watching your videos later.